Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome along THP Universe. My name is JDax. I thank y'all for joining us tonight to talk about all things of the 2023 Victory Cup with Mizuno Golf. Joining me in this two-man intimate booth, if you will, ladies and gentlemen, this is Scoob. Scoob, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm so fired up. Talked about the Victory Cup here with Mizuno, sharing a booth with one of my favorite foreigners, JDax1234. We're looking forward to it tonight.
Dude, you were not getting numbers anywhere near my screen name tonight. That was not part of the bet, my friend.
Not part of the script.
No, it wasn't part of the script. So I know we're going super late tonight. We're missing illiterate, a little bit of a last second situation at his house tonight. So he's not going to be here. We'll do our best as we spend the next 45 minutes or so breaking this down for the Lunatic Fringe and all that celebrate Victory Cup week. So when you hear Victory Cups coming around with Mizuno, Scoob, what are your initial thoughts? Like, why should the THP universe follow this one?
I mean, it's Mizuno. I mean, so that's, you can really just stop right there if you wanted, right? We've seen their performance of their equipment. Looks great, feels great, performs great. I think for this one, it's going to be fun because last year we saw irons. Yeah. And see how they got around Sawgrass. This year we get to see the woods and the wedges, and we'll get to the course, but the boys out there this week, they're going to need their woods and wedges to score.
Yeah, this is a woods and wedges type of course. I've never gamed any Mizuno clubs, which is kind of weird because I was thinking about it earlier this week. I fell in love with the 921 Hot Metal Pros, and they almost went in my bag. But yeah, I think that Mizuno is like the one sort of OEM that has a certain level of mystique. Last year we did see irons. I'm really looking forward to the feedback from the guys on their drivers' woods and the wedges, which. It's a little bit weird because when you think wedges, do you think Mizuno? But a lot of times when you think irons, you think Mizuno, right? So like, why wouldn't you think wedges also? So I'm looking forward to, like, I mean, I know Mizuno's coming leaps and bounds with their ball offer. So I'm looking forward to hearing about the ball. I think the RB Tour is going to be probably the ball that they play for the majority of the participants. I'm looking forward to hearing about A, how did the ball perform, and B, how many did you lose?
That'll be a part of it. But even the RB Max, I know when the folks there had the call with Mizuno, they were talking about that kind of a durable ball, which might not be needed at Victoria National, but a little bit higher flight, which to stick a green, that's not a bad thing.
So last year, Victory Cup was at Sawgrass, right? That's not that's not an easy course. Whew. This year, we go to a place that some would consider potentially harder than Sawgrass. We go to Victoria National in Indiana. Super interesting sort of fun facts about this course. It holds. What was the number that I said? 500 million gallons water on this course. Number. It's a huge number. I think that there's been like Golf Digest or something like that called it the 53rd best course in all of North America. There's a lot of things to like about this Fazio design. If you like carnage, if you like a brutal test of golf, this is what you're going to get here at this course. And probably as we rotate through some of these Dormy Network courses, there isn't one that's harder probably than this one. Like there is no place to hide. Maybe there's 4 scoring holes on this course, and we'll get to some of the key holes here in a second.
I mean, I think you hit it on the head there in terms of as THP circles the Dormy network and gets out there. You know, when I was looking, it looks like it's going to be a 141 slope, depending on the tees, somewhere in that ballpark. We just came off another experience down at Dormy Club, 130. I got to partake in one at Briggs Ranch down in San Antonio, 131. I thought that was a tough track. 141.
Yeah, that's just like brutal. But hey, they're going to have a bunch of fun, and the menu is going to be really, really good. And I'm looking forward to seeing them sort of attempt to take on this place. One of the key elements about this course, it's very difficult. Most second shots are very difficult, right? Either one side of the green, if one side of the green is guarded by a deep bunker complex, the other side is guarded by water. Okay, so where can you miss on this course? There's not, like, you go to Ballyhack, which I love Ballyhack. There are places that you can get away with missing at Ballyhack and still potentially score. Not here.
No.
I do think that the front 9 plays slightly easier than the back, and we'll get to some of these key holes here as we move through the show. As you look at some of the key holes here, Scoob, what sort of stands out to you? Key holes for both the participants and the THP universe that is following along at home.
I mean, the first one out of gate for me is hole 5. It's the par 3. I think we saw it on the THP Instagram. You know, it's that triangle shaped green, bunkers left and right. So, you know, as you go deeper, it opens until it drops off into a lake. I mean, so you've got to be on it with your number. And man, if that pin's front, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, it's sort of I think some of the difficulty of the course is that many of the par 3s are extremely difficult. So you're not necessarily getting a chance to score there. And then, like, you're not, the par 5s, a lot of them are no bargain either. And we'll get to, like, that 15th hole, which is a par 5, which is just could be, like, totally tragic for someone coming down the stretch. We did hear some intel today, in fact, from Josh, where he said that the greens are going to be running out of 13. That is a total nightmare for something like the 6th hole, which has got that 3-tiered green. Like, what if you put it on the green and you're not in the right spot? There are just certain places on this course that you absolutely cannot miss. All right. There are some chances to score. Fozzie sort of lets his foot off your neck a little bit. I wrote down, like, maybe the 8th hole is a chance to get to score 10, 12, 13. Definitely chances that he sort of put in this round in order to make you feel decent about yourself before you arrived at what I would refer to as the most difficult finishing hole stretch that we have seen at any THP experience. They call it the gauntlet. For first off, I think that it should start with the 14th hole in. Like, 14 in, this whole thing presents massive trouble. The toughest tee shot on the course is on 14. There's absolutely no room on the second shot. And even the preview video says that bogey is a good score.
Especially, if that pin is back right with some of the slopes around that green, I'd say you take your bogey and run all day long on 14.
In some of the greens that are, even if you hit the green, and a lot of them will slope to the water side that's defending it. And if you have a situation where they're running that fast, you could run one off the green into the water.
Yep.
That would be absolutely heartbreaking to me.
It's going to be interesting, and we saw it in the chat, is So we hear it's going to be fast. My question is how firm is it going to be? So I'm just up the river in Cincinnati right now.
Mhm.
Our greens, we've had a lot of rain the past couple weeks, are fairly receptive, even if fast. Man, if they're firm and fast, carnage awaits.
The 15th is a par five. If some of these matches get here, say you're 3 down on 15, you really should lay this. You should, the right way to play that 15th par five is to lay it up, because the entire second shot is a forced carry over the water. It's your only chance of putting it on. But if you're down in the match, you may feel like you need to gamble and get it there. The 16th, 200 yards, par three, downhill, going to have to get your club selection right. And if you don't and miss, short is still no bargain there. And if you do not hit the green at all, bogey could definitely come into play. The 17th, depending upon the prevailing wind, is this sort of dog leg right that would make the tee shot and the second shot into the wind very difficult. Now, the further right you go, there's water down there on the right, and so you could miss too far right into that dog leg and have to re-tee. Really? Could you imagine match coming down to the end and all of a sudden you've got to reload? Oh, dude, that is so brutal. And the finishing hole is probably one of the toughest holes on the course, with the deep bunker complex on the left, and water guards this thing all the way down the right-hand side. Like, is no bargain from 14 in, and it just sort of like, it feels like it's going to beat the competitors up. Talk to me about the back nine, Scoop. Hopefully they won't have to see alternate shot here on the back. What are your thoughts on the back nine there?
I mean, you laid out the overview really well. I think in terms of key holes, right, when you make that turn, how you handle 10, 11, 12, 13 before you know it's going to get challenging, and it gets challenging for both. I think 13 is really interesting, and that's kind of those pivotal holes in the match, right? If you're 2-3 back, you start getting to those must-have-it holes. 13, the deeper you go, the narrower that fairway gets. So it's, where are you at in the match? What's your decision? Are you going to pull out that fancy new Mizuno driver and try and just pipe it down that little narrow stretch? Or maybe we're going to lay back with the fairway wood. Seeing what the competitors do on 13 in a key moment is what I'm really looking at.
So you mentioned these phenomenal drivers, woods, wedges that they're going to see. Let's talk about each team and what clubs they selected. So give me the breakdown for Team Walker. What are they working with here?
So on Team Walker, we've got Raider Boost went Old Tech with the STX 230, both driver fairway, and then he went copper denim on the wedges.
Oh,
talking to him about that, like, hey, this G sounds really cool. What was the thought? And it was, well, sometimes I lose it a little bit right, and the X is going to help me with that. So we'll see if that was a smart strategic choice from a playability. Marmill, he went with the STG G on both the driver and the fairway, and then went with a 56 and 60 degree wedge with the V grind again in the denim copper. I think with Marmill, I know you've played with him. Sounds like he's looking for those clubs that can really get it up and get it to stop. Which, if we're running 13, that also might be a good spot there.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about Team Vosh, and as they come back with their club selection. Did we see something very similar? What does their breakdown look like?
Yeah, similar. We've got STGs up and down the line for Team Bosch. Same with the grinds. I think the grinds on the wedges, we got a various lofts here depending on which competitor. But playing in the Ohio River Valley, they've got some bounce, but they've got some relief. We've seen the slope. We just talked about some of the kind of treacherous spots that you're going to be in. So to be able to have a little bit of the creativity that you see in some of the options that Mizuno presents, I think they're going to be shown off this week. That's what I'm hoping to see this weekend.
Yeah, I'm super looking forward to that too. As they, I think the clubs that they got are going to be super important to handling this particular type of course, driver woods wedges. So let's see how this offer shows up, and they'll provide us feedback from there.
And we've got, before we jump. I know there's a couple comments about the denim copper. For those curious, it's 3 votes for the satin, 7 choices for the denim copper amongst all the wedges.
Okay. I would have gone copper, I think.
Yeah, but the satin look, I mean, the copper looks great, don't get me wrong, but the way they did the satin on this release, there's just something classy about it that would be hard for me to pass on.
Okay. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong either way.
No.
Let's talk about the format. We're back to a little bit more traditional. Last year, Victory Cup in 2022 was a little bit unusual for what we normally see in these experiences, where they open with singles. They don't do that here. We're going to get 18 holes, Shamble best ball. Shamble combined score have been absolutely brutal on this course. In all honesty, I'm glad that they opted for the best ball version of the. As someone that is sitting at home watching this, I like the combined score. I really do. I want to see blood. Yes, there will be blood. They come with the sprint to the finish in a 9-hole alternate shot. And then we come back on Friday on day 2, and we get the singles matches. That is very traditional of a format for something like this. Scoob, your thoughts on the format?
I mean, I think it's a tried and true format with kind of the eight player event. It's going to be fast and furious. There's really not a place to hide as a teammate. I mean, I love Shamble. It's fun. I like that it goes first. It lets you ease into the round. It lets you, in this case, they're getting the equipment, I believe, tomorrow night. I think if I got my time right, which is great because I hear they're going to get some range time. So for all those STG drivers, you can start playing with that weight track. You're going to be that low spin bomber, pull it back so they can get comfortable with it before we go. But having that kind of ease into it, not that Victoria is easy. I love me some Shamble.
Now, someone is asking in the chat, has there been a clarification on handicap percentage on all shot? I think it's 100. I don't think they're weighting this thing. And usually they don't when we go to a 9-hole sitch, right? So, I mean, we'll talk about like some of the pairings that they went with. We'll talk about what we agree or disagree with. Some very interesting choices related to pairings, even in this sort of 8-match sprint to the end. I do like the fact that they get to ease themselves in, like as some others in the chat have suggested. I do think that alternate shot needs to be on the front. If there's any way that we're going to see the underdog sort of stick in here, I do think that they need to draw the front 9 for alt shot. That's not always the case. It sort of depends on how the course is moving along. What is the pace of play for some of the participants, et cetera? Where can the course put them back out? Can they make that turn at 18 and then put them back out at 1? Or is there a little bit of gap and they have to go to 10 to tee off? If they have to go to 10 to tee off, that is brutal, because I wouldn't want to play alternate shot on the back 9 here whatsoever. So let's talk about the teams, my friend. Team Walker shows up with a combined handicap of 7.5 for the 3rd time in THP experience history. Every member of a team is a single digit. It's only happened 2 other times in the history since I've been tracking this. I mean, there may be something maybe pre-2014, since most of my notes go back, at least to 2015. We haven't seen this. Now, we've seen combined handicap spreads in this area before, but we have not seen it in only 2 other occasions. This is the 3rd time where we've seen it. The reason it comes out to this number is that every member of a team is a single digit. The last 2 times that this occurred, as in case you're wondering, and there may be some questions in the chat about it, 2019 Strixon experience, team Zach, there every single member of that team was a single. They won that one going away. And then the other time that it happened was Team Walker 2022 Victory Cup. So this is the second time that it's happened 3 times ever, and this is the second time that it's happened at this particular event. When you look at the makeup of Team Walker, Scoob, what are your thoughts on this team? This looks like a murderer's row here of experience.
I mean,
what
you
are
see the
your
names
thoughts there?
all across the bottom, right? You've got Walker, who showed up last year, captained his team to victory. You've got JB, who's put up a pretty strong record this year playing in events. I've been fortunate to join him and on that. Marmill, veteran there, Raider Boost as well, all with THP experience. Although, quick aside on Raider Boost, an on-course report today, he's had some 15-year-old driver in the bag that sounded awful. I am so happy that he's going to get that Mizuno goodness in his hands come 2 days from now.
I'm going to have to ask him if he's watching. Where's the LTDX, dude?
Oh, he's a two driver convert like myself. So they were both there.
Okay.
And then the second one,
Okay. LTDX. I know that he had it.
That one sounded amazing.
Okay.
Right?
That one sounded amazing. Let's clarify, because a lot of people have seen his signature, and I don't want people to think.
No, this was a 15 plus year relic, the old trusty that sounds awful. I'm glad all the OEMs are moving forward.
Maybe it's a little, I made them a big favorite here at minus 250. Maybe it is a little bit of bias. I've played plenty of golf with JB. Marmill was on my rivalry team. Raider Boost was on my Morgan Cup team. So I know these guys on this team very, very well, and I know their games. I think that their games will travel. I do think this will be a very tough putt for Team Vosh, and that is my transition. And Scoob, I know that you love seeing all this blue today, but this is Mizuno blue, not the blue that you are a fan of. Team Vosh shows up at a not Vosh really, because we don't have Vosh. Okay, we have Britain from Mizuno +1. They actually trade up here. Okay. Vosh is like a 1.5. They get a plus in the swap here. That post comes in. That post returns. This is his second Victory Cup that he's played in a row. He returns at a 7.5. J-Lou, who is a multi-event veteran. He's played in the THP Championship. He rode. He was on my granddaddy team. So he's not going to be scared of this. This moment is not going to get too big for him. 11.3. And the true rookie of this entire scenario is More Golf. And I think that's probably the biggest question mark as it relates. We'll get to some of the pairings. I don't think they did themselves any favors in the pairings. Okay. But they're going to need to make these pops work, because there's not a lot of pops to be had at this event at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if they're going to make them work, then it's going to be More Golf making them work, because he's the one that is going to get in all of these scenarios. 4 points retains for Team Walker, half for Team Vosh to take the Victory Cup. What were your thoughts about Team Vosh here, Scoop?
I think you hit it on the head. It's really coming down to the high and the low. We've seen that post in J-Lou, like you mentioned, in experiences. The moment's not going to be too big. So they're going to be bringing what they bring. And, as mid caps, we could be on, we could be off, and that'll, those chips will fall where they may. But what are we going to get out of Britain, and what are we going to get out of More Golf? And frankly, how are they going to pair together? How can Britain's skills filter down to the rest of the team? Because I think they're going to potentially need a little bit of that, knowing that they're chasing it a bit. Yeah.
I just saw in the comments that Jay Lou did say that they didn't make the parents. We're going to get the parents here in a second. So let's go here. We're going to talk about day one's pairings, and I'm going to give the match odds when we get to talking about the matches, but we're going to start with Team Walker's shamble pairings. In all honesty, when you have a makeup of a team like this, there's not a whole lot of flexibility here. no matter how they mix match this, it was going to be mathematically pretty close to the same situation. They go out, they get Marmill, they get Walker. An 8 and a 7 go out together and shamble. Then they take Raider, a 6 and a 9.5 go out together and shamble. It's very stock, right? You're going to be playing off the low at 70%. In this particular case, Marmill is going to be the one getting, and Josh is going to be getting. I mean, I like this JB and Raider team. When Raider does have problem, when he starts leaking oil, is because he misses fairways. Okay, Josh doesn't miss fairways. Okay, so that being said, I think that is a great pairing. Then you get my man Marmill, you get Walker together. They're going to attempt to ham and egg a little bit. We'll go to Team Vosh. Vosh counters with J-Lou and Morgolf. I just don't like, if I was making these pairings, and maybe there's some sort of reason for this, but if I was the captain here, Team Vosh, I'm the plus Britton and Moore are going out together. Like that is happening. Like, let's put more golf in the fairway. Let's take advantage of his pops, even at 70%. If we're going to play off of a low, then we'll play off the plus, right? Right? Then I would have sent out that post and J-Lou out together. That's not what they do. And I think that it puts them a little. In fact, when I read this, when I got the pairings, I thought that they had it reversed. I thought that they had it mixed up because I thought that this was the alternate shot pairing for them versus what the shamble pairing was. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%.
What were your thoughts? Were they similar? Are you okay with this? I didn't like this at all.
No, I think they're really similar when you break it down. I know we had the comment that the pairings were kind of done for them, so be interested to know the thoughts. But if you look at the numbers, which, by the way, I love how good you are with numbers, just as a little aside. You would put the plus with Morgolf. Mm-hmm. Morgolf's going to be playing from spots he's not familiar with. Kind of changes the game. We were just talking about that earlier today with a couple buddies, right? If driver's working, the game is just different. It's easier. Mm-hmm. And then plus, then you'd have, Team Ohio going, right, with J-Lou in that post, and y'all know my Ohio love, and that just, to me, makes strategic sense.
Now, I'm not in the team room. I don't know like what was reported. Like, not all. I mean, we're just looking at it from a pure math standpoint, and not all 18s are 18s because of their T-ball. It could be something different, right? Maybe more golf is phenomenal off the tee. Maybe this is a situation where they felt that they could to utilize some strengths here. They definitely expect a point out of that Britton in that post match, though, probably, but they didn't get the greatest draw in the world. And we'll talk about that in a second as we get to Team Walker's alternate shot. Oh, that was their sham. And we'll talk about Team Walker's alternate shot pairings here. I mean, again, like, what are they going to do? Like, the math is the same. They go Raider and Marmill. Okay. They go Josh and Walker. Okay. It's sort of a stock situation, but this is the hand that they're dealt. This is what they're dealing with. I have no problem.
Math is fun.
Yeah. Then you go to the alternate shot. So J-Lee goes out with that post. And now we get the shamble pairing that I wanted, but we get it in alternate shot with Morgolf and Britton. It doesn't make sense, man. I don't know how better you have to say this. Like, we'll get to a match. They end up drawing a match that's going to be like dead even on pops. But we'll in a second. What did you think about Team Bosch's alternate shot pairings?
I mean, don't have too much different in terms of how I would have necessarily played it, but again, we're not in the team room, so we don't know exactly what the thought is. It could be that that post and Jayla, I believe, have teed it up before, so there could be some chemistry there that it's like, what, we gel. Let's make this happen. And Britton says, what, I'm the best golfer out here. More golf, hop on my shoulders. We're going to go get a point. I could see that playing out.
Yeah, I could too. I think that it's going to be very important if this thing is going to go deep into singles. I do think that this match 1 is of the utmost importance, and we'll get to them here. Match 1, Shamble, Marmel, Walker, Texas Ranger, 2012 numbers, pal, in his name, go out against Britton in that post. I made Britton in that post minus 180. The comeback on Marmel and Walker, Texas Ranger, plus 150. Thoughts on this one, Scoob?
I think you might be heavy. I think it's going to come down to the wire, but I think with kind of what you're seeing with how that post has grinded, and you put him with Britton and a Shamble, I think, to your point, this is one that they're expecting to get, and quite frankly, when we talk about path, one that they might need to get.
Yeah, if there is a path to the upset here, they have to have this match because of the way it sort of drew out. We'll go to match 2. Josh and Raider go out against Morgolf and J-Lou. Sorry, J-Lou, I know you're watching. Josh and Raider go off at minus 200. The comeback on J-Lou and Morgolf plus 165. The reason here is just what I said before. The weakness of Raider is going to be the tee game, and Josh doesn't miss fairways. And Raider is a phenomenal iron player. And Josh, he usually doesn't start leaking oil until singles. Like, he's usually great right out of the gate with a Fresca in his hand and just a fresh back or whatever it could be ailing him at that very moment. But it doesn't start he doesn't start leaking oil until a little bit later. This is a tough putt in a shambles situation where you have 2 double digits. The 2 double digit handicaps that are in the field are together here against a guy that knows how to play team golf and Josh and Raider, who's a great iron player, in my opinion. Minus 200 feels about right. I think there's a path because, they're going to get more, and J-Lou are going to get, and we've seen many, many times that pops are a great equalizer, but they're going to have to make them count here. And we just went over how brutal this course is. Like, you put one in the water here, you just evaporated your pop, and the other team doesn't go into the water.
If you put one 5 yards off the fairway on some holes into the heather, your pop is gone.
Right. It's just such a difficult course that I do think that this naturally probably favors the team with the lower handicap. But I mean, look, we're going to tune in and see if my man J-Lou can get this done. He doesn't back off from a challenge. He took AJ to the wall at the Hideaway. So I know that he's got plenty of game there. So match 3 is alternate shot. Raider switches from Josh to Marmel. And then J-Lou catches that post. This is a little bit less. I do like Marmel and Raider here, minus 175. The comeback with J-Lou and that post is plus 140. That post is going to be on some pressure here, I think, because I think that this is also another really good pairing from Team Walker. Thoughts, Scooby?
I think this is where you're going to see Ohio shine, frankly. They've gotten to know each other a little bit. Okay. It's a tough draw. You are spot on with that. But this is where I like a bit of an upset here in match 3.
Okay. I would not be surprised if this is the one where the dog covers, right? You got a barking. I think that J-Lou and that post in this match are a barking dog. This is why you're getting you're getting a slight discount there, plus 140, but I think they provide tremendous line value. I think they can go deep. And you have to remember this is sort of a 9-hole sprint to the finish, and a lot of weird things can happen in 9-hole alternate shot matches. the last shot. So I have Josh and Walker, Texas Ranger, minus 110. This one's dead even. The Pops are going to be dead even, right? But I feel like it could have been a little bit of softer seed here, right? Britain goes out with the high in this scenario. This is why the Pops are going to end up going off dead even. And yes, he's probably going to tee off on the odds. Pronouns pal. Britain is going to tee off on the odds. I think this goes all the way then. I think it goes deep. That's why I have it even. Scooby.
I think you're there. I think the big question for me is the partnership right between Britain as the +1 and Morgoff at the 18, how they work together as a team, right? I think we've both had experiences in all chat, either watching on the forum or playing. If that lower cap, that better player can help kind of coach and caddy, right, their partner around of, you know what, just play it out here, nice and easy, play your game, and we'll move on, right? Advance and move on. And I think you're right. This one could go late.
I think it goes all the way to the end. And I think the other thing that you have to think about, if like on the odds, if they get into the fairway and Morgoff can at least put them on or pretty close, more than likely Brent's going to be able to put it within the circle of friendship or chip it pretty close, right? So like, just look out. I think it goes all the way to the end. Moving right along.
Win on this course in all chat holes pretty easily.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's easy. I mean, I think it's going to be. I think we're going to get to singles because I think there could be an upset there in match 3, and then that match 4 could go sort of either way, right? And if chalk holds up on those first 2 matches, depending upon what happens in that last alternate shot match, it could be tied or potentially 2.5, however it works out, right? Maybe 2.5 to 1.5 or something like that. But we're going to get to day 2 with everyone having a little bit of chance. Match 5, the first match. I like the fact that Josh goes out early here because he is a quicker player, right? There has been some talk that post does not play as quick. You played with him today.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about his pace?
Early, he's played quicker than I've ever seen him play. I saw drives up in the air before I even turned around after walking off the tee. A little bit later, started thinking a little bit more. So we'll see. It's going to be a clash of styles. It could be interesting.
Okay, some cause for concern here, if you're a Team Walker supporter, is that Josh has been great in shamble and alt shot. That singles situation has not been as good. He has not fared as well. And the last time we saw him play, he loses to Wonger at the Dormy Club. So is this the time where we finally see Josh keep the tank full for the entire duration of an event, or does he run out of gas once again on us? And if he does this crack the door open for Team Vosh? Well,
he had a gas station breakfast sandwich today, so I don't know if that's a pro or a con. Where I'm thinking is that post has been poking the bear in the entire lead up on the forum. And we've seen it. Yes. If JB starts getting into a back and forth trash talk, that seems to light that competitive fire a little bit stronger. And does that give him the energy to get over the hump to put a singles point on the board? And if he does, that positions Team Walker really well in terms of retaining the cup.
Don't disagree with that. Match 6, which is the second one of the day, Walker goes out against J-Lou. So, you really have a 7 versus an 11 here. I would have liked this. I would have liked J-Lou a lot more here if he would have been playing Walker as the 4.6 that he was in 2022, right? Because there would have been more pops given here. At this point, I don't have the course adjusted because I don't know exactly what slope course rating they're going to play. But in this particular case, Jay Lou's getting a small number here. He's only going to get about 4. So the Walker is going to go out as the favorite, -180. The comeback on the very dangerous Jay Lou is +150. Scoob, thoughts on match 6?
Which Walker are we going to get? The Walker that showed up at Sawgrass closer to a 4, or the Walker that has played some recent golf that pushed him up to a 7? That's my big question in match 6.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to understand. I don't know how he went from a 5 to a 7, basically, right? And a net adjusted 5 at a 4.6. We don't know why that happened. There could be a swoon, right? He could have caught the shanks, couldn't get rid of them. And then now he doesn't have them anymore. And now he has the potential of playing to what his potential was before, which is sub 5. I think Jay Lou's been grinding here. I think that he catches a bad match. I think he caught a bad draw for him. You would have liked to
seen him go deep in other adventures, using that lanky speed. He's a bulldog. So I think this is going to be one to watch, frankly.
Yeah, I'm going to be super excited for this one. Let's move to match 7. Man, Raider. I'll give him this. He's not going to shy away from anything. The last time that we saw Raider boost in singles, he drew the rat. Now he draws in here. He's going to get he's going to get close to 7. He's not usually accustomed to getting, more than likely, as he plays either at his home games or at this THP event. So that's a little bit of a different dynamic. Like we said, him keeping that T-ball in play is going to be of the utmost importance. And he's also going to have to, let's be honest, what we've heard is that Britton is better than even Vosh. They traded up here. There's probably some things that he's going to be able to do that Raider cannot do. And if Raider gets sort of wrapped in to attempting to do what this guy is doing, could his game sort of unravel? And all of a sudden, if you had a couple upsets happen before, now the path is extremely open to get to 4.5, maybe. I think this is a pivotal match. Put it this way, either it's a pivotal match or it's not going to matter. It's either one of those. It's going to either be one of those situations, right? You could get to match 7 with this thing not mattering. You could get to match 8 potentially where it's already been decided based on some of the things that we've already talked about. Going to be very important. I made Britton up -175. The comeback on Raider boost is +140, but I do believe that he is a live dog in the right situation. Scooby, your thoughts on this one?
I want to disagree with you, but I think you're right on the line with Raider being a live dog here. I think for really 2 reasons. One, he was the participant that went with the STX, right? And we've talked about how keeping the drives in play are going to matter. And that's a driver that should set up well for his game. The other thing, I was privileged to have dinner with Raider Boost tonight, kind of sharing golf stories, golf trips, this and that. And some of his golf playing partners and folks he knows down in Texas, they're plus handicaps. So being paired with a golfer of Britton's caliber isn't going to be an unfamiliar feeling for Raider Boost. So I think this one, I hope this match is pivotal, because I think it's going to go late.
Okay. Look, the longer the better, right? Let's go to match 8, final match of singles. Again, this could be very pivotal also, right? And if some things break the other way, especially if some of these dogs in some of these matches that we think are live, I understand why the line is, but I really like the dog. You've said that a couple times here. Marmill goes out. And some more golf. He's going to lay about 10-ish, maybe 11 course adjusted. That's a lot. It's an avalanche of pops. And so you're probably asking Dax, why did you make him such a big favorite when we've seen We've seen like pops be a great equalizer, especially in a situation in singles like this. The reason is that I know Marmill can do this. You know how I know? He did this on my rivalry team. He went out against Ludin, laid 11 pops, and won the match. Faded all of them. Was 3 down with 4 to play and won the match. 1 up. Fading all sorts of, he faded the whole avalanche of pops. Got to the end, made some shots count. I think this is probably potentially the same thing that happens here, where, look, Moore stays in the match, uses the pops to his advantage. 11 is an awful lot for someone to attempt to fade, especially someone that's like a mid-cap like Marmill. But as he fades, he gets through. I remember I rode in the cart with him. What he's going to be thinking about is how many more holes do I have to lay, and where can I get my chances where we're playing heads up and I can get some of I can get myself back in the match, right? That's what he's going to be thinking. He has the grinder's mentality in order to do that. I've seen him do it before, and that's why he is a huge favorite here. Scoob, thoughts?
I don't think you're wrong, but right, we've talked about how, and we've seen it in past experiences, it is a motivating factor for your game. And so if being in the Victory Cup, being with Mizuno reps, spending 2 or 3 days eating the great food, getting the new gear, if that has motivated Morgolf to work on the game to where it is a trending 18, plus you get a day prior playing with the plus cap, learning the course, figuring out how to work your way around it to use those pops. I think if you can check those boxes, this match could be a good one. Or, Marmill being the Bulldog, you've seen him in action. It could get ugly early. Man, these late night ones.
It could get late early.
That's the word.
That's the phrase that you're looking for there, Scoob. Out of all the singles matches, which one are you looking for the most, or like just overarching singles day thoughts? Like, I think there's a lot of compelling storylines here. Which match are you looking forward to the most?
I'm just still deciding. I think I got 2 days to figure out what ice cream I'm going to go buy to sit on my couch and watch that JB that post match. Might be mint chocolate chip, might be black raspberry chip. That's the one that I'm waiting for.
Okay, I kind of want to watch the whole day. Like, I mean, I want to see how if Jaylu's able to use it. I want to see Josh like put to bed this single sort of like swoon that he's going through. I think that the Raider redemption arc after I think he lost 3-1 to the Rat the last time we saw him in singles, and can Marmill fade all those pops again? All of the singles matches have something for everyone. So let's stay tuned. Let's give some predictions, though. We've broke it all down. We've talked about the course and the clubs and the pairings and the pairing strategy and even the matches. What do you think happens, Scoob?
Oof. So, look, you've got the low caps on a hard course. The logic says that should be the favorite, right? Flip side of that, though, I've got my Ohio boys playing, so the heartstrings are pulling in that direction. You love to see the rookies go. You've got the plus cap, right? When in a short event, plus cap gets hot, puts 3 points on the board, then it becomes a tough task. Honestly, at the end of the day, predictions, winner, it's going to be the course. There's going to be carnage. That's where my head's at, and I'm looking forward to it.
So Scoob's official pick is Victoria National wins.
Lock it in.
Because there will be blood. Okay, before I get to my pick, yes, the shirt that I'm wearing tonight is an old school. This is Sting shirt. Yeah, I mean, look, I want to sort of pick that maybe this is going to be super close. And I think there is a path. I think there's a path for Team Bosch. I do think they have to have a lot break right and go their way. Again, I've talked about the historical significance of everyone on the team being a single digit, how both of the other times that this happened, that team has won in a pretty impressive fashion. The course is very difficult. What does that favor? It should favor the team with the lower aggregate handicap. It should, right? And this is not a situation where I really think that there's a lot of questions around the validity of the aggregate handicap here, because all of these people on Team Walker are known. Now, do I think Team Bosch has a better than a puncher's chance? Yes, absolutely. Do I like Team Bosch's pairings? No, I like the case why I would have done it a different way. Like I would have flipped them. Like my alternate shot pairings would have been my shamble and vice versa. I think there's a path forward here, but I think it goes deep into day two. But I do think that it's just a little, maybe it's just a little bit of a bridge too far for Team Bosch. And I do think this gets decided with Marmil fading a ton of pops and adding to his THP legend. So my pick is Team Walker. Any final thoughts, Scoob?
I'm just excited for it. I love it. It's coming up. Made sure I didn't fill up the calendar to follow live. It's going to be the live thread's going to be popping. The food's going to be fantastic. Seeing the new clubs get unwrapped is going to be fantastic. I'm just looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I think this is going to be super fun. I think that anytime that we get to see a place like this, look, I'm just sitting there hoping. My final thought is that I'm hoping that the Goat Cup's not here. Like, can we just get a Bally hack?
I mean, you gotta love how Mizuno does not mess around picking courses.
Steam showers.
It's great.
Can I just go with the steam shower and the goats and Bally hack? No, in all seriousness, I want to take a moment. We've had 20 people watching this live, and we went off super, super late. So for those of you in the lunatic fringe that tuned into us live, and for those that will watch a little bit on a delay as they sort of get stuck in over the next couple of days before play starts on Thursday, this is an honor and a privilege to come out and talk to you about these things. I hope the participants got a whole lot out of their sort of moment in the sun as like two guys that they don't know in some cases sort of break down their golfing ability. So this is all in good fun. So I'm super excited. Let's follow this along. I'll see y'all in the live thread. So for Scoob, this is JDax, and we are out. Thanks everybody for coming along. Bye.